Haven't decided at all.
I hadn't picked them up yet. And I don't know, they look to be brand new, like.
Be able to use them.
Today was one to go.
That probably already has it.
There are some.
Exactly.
All right, we'll start the meeting.
Alright, I. Gonna try to get this sand business wrapped up here, it's winter creeped on pretty fast. And so I wanna get it wrapped up if I can, I talked to Larry Pickett tonight. And he said if I could line a couple of trucks up for Thursday and Friday, that he would be there to load them and send them on their way. And so I'm gonna see if I can find a couple of trucks along with our truck and go with that. And hopefully Matt won't be too busy, because we have other things that we have a couple. We have a couple other things in the garage that need to be worked on, and that's gonna help us. The radiator went bad in four-wheel drive. It had a little help, but the belt come off, and the tensioner come apart. And we got all that fixed, and that's when we discovered that we also have a hole in the radiator.
Wasn't that $1,100 radiator or something?
I have the radiator, but I don't know exactly what it costs yet.
Did you price one last year?
Yeah, but we didn't get around to use one.
Right.
So we got rid of the truck before it. Actually, well, that one just turned out to be a different kind of leak. It looked like it was radiator. But, so anyways, Matt's gonna help us change that right in the garage.
Mhm.
He did one on his truck. And he said that wouldn't be easy, but he thought we could do it there. And I'd rather pay him a day's work than to pay $1,000, get the truck just trucked down there.
Right.
Just sideline, at the time was David Race, and he said. The first thing you wanna do is take the hood off, because he changed one in his log truck once. And they did it with the hood on, and he said that wasn't the way to do it.
Well, we decided we were gonna take the hitch off and then disconnect the hood so it could lay right over, right out of the way. And so see if we can then get up out of there and replace it. It's normally not a job we do in the garage, but it does look like it is possible, and I can't get anybody to work on it for 2 weeks, and I need the truck sooner than that.
Thomas in that work.
Thomas, Hobley will be in one day this week, because he was not gonna do an awful lot, but he was gonna help Matt with that radiator. But he technically, he said he wouldn't be back in until Monday.
Doing okay then?
Seems to be doing all right. I mean, the first time I heard about it, he was gonna be out for 6 weeks. That bothered me a little, but I knew we could deal with it.
Yeah.
And so that takes care of that, and the
How much sand is there left to do?
1,500 yard.
Yeah. Out of how much? 5,000.
And lost my train of thought.
Email. Talk about Thomas.
Yeah, we were talking about him and the locking bridge, that's what it was. You must have heard from the school.
Yeah,
And so I've been working with Randy to get a price on fixing it, because it basically needs the boards fixed on the front of the bridge. And what Randy said, probably take some of the back boards and fix the front bridge if I got it right.
Right, right.
And
I think it just, is gives it a better look. As well as, you know, you're not paying for the material again.
But the bus went through there and it left yellow paint on every brace. And wiped out the big beam on the backside of the bridge and broke the braces. And so the boards on both ends of the bridge need to have some work done to them. And I think talking with Randy that it's like $8,500 worth of damage to this bridge.
I've been talking to the insurance company, their the bus's insurance company, so once I get the bid of them, I'll send it to them.
The butlers, the first.
It's not, it's, yeah, like for students, transportation, something.
And he would get that all written up for you, but they don't have any electricity, so.
No.
they do the crap all down.
Are you gonna do that pretty soon?
What?
You're gonna get an estimate written pretty soon, as
Yes.
soon as electricity comes on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. And then can you fix it this fall?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I've already got the material, but I keep beams on hand for this side of things.
I don't doubt it. We break them out. Well, we don't, but they get broke off and.
Oh, yeah. We still have the broken boards on the Al Bridge too,
Mhm.
some point.
Yeah, but.
Not structure.
And that ought to be dealt with, but, we gotta do some fancy hoops to get that done. Can't just go there and do it.
Right.
At least that's what that.
Yeah, because Art
Right.
was involved, or not Art, sorry,
FEMA.
because FEMA was involved. Then it's gotta go through like the historical person at FEMA and the registration of covered bridges and all this like. Where in the end, we're just gonna take the boards off and put new ones on, but you have to.
Not that that's-
Do everything in order to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess Ruben is here to discuss his the billing and this and that for this new bridge. It's not totally finished. And therefore something ought to be held back, but with getting this grant thing taken care of, I don't know exactly whether you can. I got this feeling that you'll probably hold on to getting your money if we don't do. So anyways, you tell them what.
Okay, so honestly, my part of the bridge is totally finished. The A&R Scott Jensen, he has some work really above the job site that he wants done, which technically ties into where I stopped digging, where he wants to fix is right there. And then he wants to put a little weir dam in the stream, and he wants to wait till next summer. Where he wants to put that is below anything I dug.
Mhm.
So it's not really, I mean, it's job related, we're right there, but it's not job related. You know, but we'll be completely done. I don't know if I have everything moved out, depends on when Adam can move me, but right now, the bridge is done, guardrails are on today.
Oh, good.
I have a short piece of rail, I think will make that upper end look a little bit better.
Okay, and are you gonna be able to fill in where those
Where the barriers were.
areas?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring stone down.
It all back up.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll bring stone down tomorrow. Might take two, I might have to bring two load down, but we'll bring stone down, well,
But
provided we don't get snow and ice and.
the only thing that I need to mention is the fact that the bed got washed worse than we expected. And so this is where he's worried about, we need to put that V thing in its bottom to make sure this bridge don't empty out and be right down the footings.
Yeah.
And so Technically, in my mind, I think probably it does have a little to do with the bridge. It needs to be, something needs to be done to make sure that doesn't happen.
Under normal circumstances, would you just do that? I mean, I don't
Oh,
understand.
I don't know why he put up such a fuss of doing it right now. They were in, you know, he wanted me out of the water.
Right,
They're in the water right up here, you know, they're in the water everywhere else, I don't know what made that one so special and have to wait, but. Will it wash? It won't ever wash it. I mean, I put stones in there the size of these two tables.
Mhm.
You know, and we're gonna go nowhere, but he's where he wants to look at it. Come end of end of the spring, beginning of summer. He wants to
After the
look
snow
at it.
melt.
Oh, yeah, after, spring runoff and all that, he wants to go back and look at it, which. I'm more than willing to do, I don't care, I mean. The job ain't done until you guys are happy.
Mhm.
But he was talking not getting paid the rest of my money until next summer.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm a small business, I can't, I
Right.
wanna host. What he wants to do isn't more than $3,000 worth of work.
Mhm.
And. I hope you trust me enough to, if I say I'll come back, I'll come back, but if not, you wanna withhold. $3,000 so I can come back, I can, but.
Is that gonna mess up the grant part of it though?
I don't know, that would be something to check with Mary Ann, if it has to be like,
Right.
paid in full type of thing on our part in order to get back.
Mhm.
That much, so I'll check with Mary Ann.
But can we just basically get an IOU from Ruben and just call the job complete and pay Ruben 100%? And then just trust that he'll come back next summer and do what he's supposed to do?
Yeah.
Well,
I enjoy working with you guys, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna not come back.
I trust I'm gonna have another bridge that you won't have if you don't come back.
Yeah, I enjoy working with you guys, so yeah.
Well, I don't know why we couldn't just do that.
Right,
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but Scott was talking, withholding the payment until it's. Like, it doesn't really have to do, I mean.
He's a government bureaucrat. He can do
Yeah, oh yeah, well, like I said, I can't play in the water, but everybody else can.
that. Well, how about we do that?
sounds
Okay,
good to me.
And if that doesn't work, then that's what Ruben said, just pay up to
Right,
the full thing minus 3,000.
Yeah,
Just pay that
I mean,
when you do
the
it.
little dam he wants to build ain't more than a load of stone, and what he wants to do up above ain't more than, a couple loads of stone.
They haven't got the final numbers on the sand and the rock and stuff like that.
I trust you guys.
But she's working on it.
I trust you guys
She's
to,
working on it, but I just, so the select board understands that there is some trucking and some rock that's gotta come out of this final number.
I did what I did, I submitted what would be the total, and I just wrote on, you have to minus the trucking and stone.
Mhm.
Cause I didn't have that number, and you guys, I guess you guys ain't got it quite yet, but,
It's in the office.
yeah, like I said, I trust you guys.
It's in the office
Tell me
and
what,
that can work out.
Yeah, I'm gonna take whatever you tell me for numbers, what I use anyway, so I trust you.
So anyway, it just needed to be discussed.
sounds like it worked.
Works for me.
Yep.
And what I'll do, I'll just keep in touch with Scott as to when he wants to.
Do you have that little chewing machine that you usually have on a job, that little thing goes on your bobcat?
Oh, yeah,
Is that up there?
oh, yeah.
Is it too hard for that thing to do anything now?
I think when I put a couple load of stone on it, I'll hit it with it.
Cause that's pretty bad right this
I-
minute.
I left it hit up in the, kind of a dangerous neck of the woods. I left that thing hit up in the bushes. It's there, but you can't see it.
You can't come to borrow it during the night.
Yeah, that was,
Oh, speaking of
there was a
borrowing,
lot of stuff we didn't leave up there.
Yeah.
That we normally would.
somebody left a trailer at the little Quonset hut going up Town Farm. They kind of left it on the side of the road right there. And I seen, and that was during the storm, it was sitting there. And this morning, it's halfway up that road, sitting in the road. we need to figure out who's gonna move that. Whether we get Lakeman to get it out of there, or,
It's right in the middle of the town car then?
well, you gotta, it's up against the bank as far as it can go. But you gotta go around it to get down out of that, and it's above the Quonset hut now, and it's in that little hill.
You don't know who it belongs to?
No idea,
Yeah.
it looks like it's probably a homemade trail and stuff, it was loaded with all kinds of stuff, and now that's kind of scattered down the road way.
Maybe Ruben would take it for part of his bill.
Take all kinds of stuff, you need to come up missing, you know.
Probably maybe Andy Rogers.
But whoever
John.
moved it only got 200 feet with it.
Up with the boat down on 14. Just got dumped in Hartford. I said, who leave a boat just sitting there? I looked the other day and it's got the stoves and junk in the back. I said, yeah, I'm guessing somebody just left it in petrol.
Yeah.
No flat tires, no nothing, just open it, pull off and left.
Didn't leave the name on it, did they?
Oh, yeah. Can't see no numbers on it. It used to be there.
Huh.
To balance out everything that goes missing, now things are just showing up.
Huh. Well, probably have to look into, trying to figure out whose trailer it is, or,
There's no markings on it, like I said, it looks to be homemade, but it's definitely in the way now.
Okay, I'll call Blake.
You will find out as soon as it's moved. so
Right.
down the hall.
yeah,
Well,
that-
the reason why I like to have Lakeman or somebody deal with it is it can't be where it is, because it's in a bad spot, and if there's any money to be paid, it'd be between them and Blakeman's. Or Blakeman has another piece to send to the junkyard.
what else is going on?
Well, we, just went through a snowstorm that had a lot of trees down, and, I finally plowed my last road to this evening, just before I came here. Tree had been down up on, Swayze Road ever since the storm, couldn't get up in there. And now I got 8, 10 trees that, as soon as I can, gotta get them cleaned out of the ditch, and we pushed them into the ditch and drove on by.
There's a big one on your brother's. wasn't there? The one that- but these-
Pete Buttons,
Oh, Pete Buttons,
Yeah.
oh.
it was on power, so they couldn't move it until the power company came.
So that makes it, I got everything told to.
All right, equipment's holding up well. New truck's going well.
My truck ain't had headlights on it since, we started.
Yeah.
But I, am managing to get by until we get them fixed.
How do you plow at night?
Keep plow down and use the regular
Oh.
lights off the truck.
Good flashlight.
It's getting back into town, it ain't so much fun.
Right.
But we'll get to the bottom of them, even if it's 3 wires go up there and a blinker switch right here.
Yeah.
We will fix it.
Yeah,
Cause, it's, Tenco is not in business in our area, and it's probably a modular gone, but without the right equipment to check, you don't know what modular that modular is, and, it's been a real problem to,
Yeah.
take care of that kind of stuff. But probably it's gonna be just like it did with Larry, just run some wires out there, and lights are on.
make it work.
Are you back 5 days a week?
Yeah, we kind of had to, storm kind of brought the bad right in.
Is a company that's making the bridge in North Tunbridge gonna leave any extra material there they don't use or anything?
I gotta call Chris Bump, and let him know that I think they've got about 150 yards of our 2-inch, 2 1/4 inch
Joy,
in their bridge up there now.
how'd they get that?
Well, I guess they just load up and go, no line.
That's what happens when we're at night.
And, today they were loading load a 2 foot rock on the truck and, I said, gee. I'm pretty sure fellas, that don't belong to you.
Yeah.
We put it over in the sand pile, so it wouldn't get mixed up with their stuff. Cause we're gonna put it in that hole there.
Right.
And, but they had it already loaded. So they needed it real quick, so I told them that, they could, go get me another load and bring it in and put it back. Instead of dumping that one and going to find one.
Yep.
Probably shouldn't have been handled that way, but like the man said, we're good for it, we'll take care of you.
Keep track of that.
State steals something, and the next week they're right out and they're doing it again.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 5-day bridge. And now I think we'll be stuck with that light for a month.
You know, what,
No, well, they're apparently doing cement headers and stuff now. I see they're building forms to pour concrete, which will make the bridge look a little better than I thought it was going to be, because I thought it was gonna be fully as bad the way they left it. And I thought the guide rails would eventually get on, but it looked like they have not improved the turn one little bit. And maybe it actually will be whiter and better.
You have anything for Rodney, Tom? I don't know what we're doing. Okay.
All righty.
thank you, Ronnie.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
How many again?
Well, that's okay.
Check your windows tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
All right, Jody, you're up.
Not have your time.
You're early.
That's shocker. That's in virtual. Thank you. Did it like it? He does not like dad so much.
This ain't gonna be good.
He bumped his nose. Yeah, he's starting to stand up.
West Tunbridge was cut off. Who's gonna get there?
Okay, we have health officer first, and then I want to talk about nursing stuff too, because, well, I have your. So that's why Mariah kind of put it on, it's just me, because I just needed to touch base. Okay, so October 28th, I was sent an email about a septic. I didn't get it until the 30th. So I responded, it was kind of a generic question about septic and legality, and if they didn't have a septic, what do we do? On the 1st of November, I confirmed whatever the address was. It was 79 Corey Road, Tunbridge, Brocklebank. I contacted
He said they, who let you know?
a community member, I don't usually share.
Right.
And the report, it will have it in the final report, but I don't usually like to get everything. So, I mean, it is common knowledge, but as I'm investigating the case, I don't like to share everybody's name. So then I contacted Mariah to find out who the property owner was and to go forth. So I contacted the owner on, the 5th. I reached out to one of them, and then the owner was able to contact me on the 7th. They called me, well, I had messaged with the daughter-in-law, son, and then the owner contacted me via phone. We talked about septics, we talked about, we believe that the property does have a septic, but it was put in like the 90s. And it's not on record, that we know of. So at that point, we didn't know. So we were gonna have the owner look into it, and I contacted the town clerk at that point to see, can they please look into it for me? So that was on November 7th. Wednesday, the 8th, I had talked to the owner again. We had talked about the laws of no one living there more than 90 days, and that they have to have a septic. So in the state of Vermont, living at a property, or a tenant living at a property for more than 90 days, there's a law that, and I talked to the owner about this, that you cannot
have even 90 days consecutive the whole year. So it doesn't even matter if it's in a row. So you could, it's a rule out camps is what it's made for, to protect that you cannot live there. My feelings at that time was that we did know of a septic, but was it legal is the question of why I was kind of being less less aggressive about going up and like, as aggressive as Gilly Road, I'd say, because they were literally feasting in the river. So that was a little bit more of calling the state right on them. So the owner was going to look into that for me. He was gonna look into who, if he had some at home or if there was any record here. And I also put a message out to Rudy because Rudy knows a lot about the septic in town. On the 9th, I updated, the person who, let them know that what I was working on and that, they confirmed that the person living up there had been living there longer than 90 days and that they know this. And so I was like, okay. So we contacted Rudy. Rudy didn't get back to me until I saw him in person on November 20th. So at that point, Rudy said he does believe there is a septic because it was listed on the lister card. However, it was prior to 90s, and in the state of Vermont, if you have a septic that's prior than 2007, there are actually grandfather clause in, so it's okay to actually have a septic. However, it's not okay for the tenant, so it's okay for the property owner to use it, but if they were to rent it or use it for other people, B&B, things like that, it's not legal because you have to follow then tenant rules, which is, as you know, a 13-page report that I brought to you on 509. So I brought this to the owner and their family. Then it was the week of Thanksgiving, as you know, so like the 21st. So I was with family, so I didn't really get a chance to talk to really anyone until the 25th. I had talked to the owner again. At that point, he had not found any septic legal plans, and we made a plan. So from then, the owner is going to make he did a verbal plan with me over the phone, but we have a 30-day plan that his choices are, he could either evict the tenant, he can put a porta potty or some sort of state approved plan that gets him through, but it has to be pumped monthly, and the location of the property puts a lot of challenges on that, or he can dig up the septic and get a permit and go from there. Because it's November, I did put a call out to Sean McVeigh. He is the environmental director of Vermont. And he has not contacted me back yet, which, with Gilly, that took months, but his secretary did, and she said that November, she doesn't know the exact date, but sometime after November 24th, or she believes, is that they would have to give a special permit to the owner and property owner it kind of bypasses for a certain amount of months. However, there has to be another septic plan in place as well. So it's like, they still have to do either a compost toilet, a porta potty or whatever, even if that septic we dig it up and it is legal, the property owner has to go through the permits to make sure that it's on record. Because right now it's not on record. And so that's kind of where it's at. At this point, the property owner is working with me. He was going to bring a plan tonight. I don't know if he did bring a plan or not, but that was what was left with it, with the property owner was gonna bring me a plan of what he plans to do in the next 30 days. After 30 days, if he doesn't work with me, then, obviously I can be more aggressive of making the environmental enforcement tell me what to do. But at this point, I feel like I've done everything that I can do as a health officer, and let everyone know, the concerned community members, the owners, these are the laws, and I'm kind of bringing it to you because you're the board. The next steps, obviously, if he doesn't apply to the 30 days, which I don't foresee that happening, but if he doesn't, then we would do a health order on the property, meaning we'd have to go through the eviction process, and you guys know that familiar with 509, but that would be a lot of work for me, the 13-page report, because then I would have to make it compliant to all renters, meaning it wouldn't just be the septic that this would bring up. I would then have to do the report on you know, everything, the flooring, the, everything, so. Yes, that's 509. Yes, so I did that at 509, and I also had to do it at Gilly, so this would make it. But it does open the door that, so I did send that 13-page checklist, I sent it to the property owner, just in case, because I don't think. He has no plans of renting this typically, this is a rare incident, he was helping someone out, so he doesn't plan on renting this property out in the future, but I did send it to him just in case, so that if he's aware, these are the compliances that you need to do, and the septic would be one of them. And so I'm bringing it to you guys, I don't know if you feel that we need to be more aggressive, what you want me to do, if the 30-day plan is not aggressive enough, this is usually what I do, you know, the 30-day, we usually give them 30 days. It's not 30 days of when I found it, because I was just figuring out all the information of the property, it was kind of complicated, as you can see. Because the lister card states there is a septic there, but it's not legal. It's never been permitted, and it's never
Not a
been,
state approved septic.
right,
When did the state approval of septics begin? Do you know?
2007, well, 2000.
Like you needed a state engineer.
Yeah, after 2007, they're enforcing it, I should say, they started this in like 2004, where they were like, you need to make a plan, but they started enforcing it in 2007. So any septic prior, so for example, Dad's property up on White Hill, it was, I don't know, Randy would know, but that property septic is. Probably a car gas tank in the ground, I'm not sure, it's not legal to that, however, because Dad lived there the whole time. Since whatever, 89, 90, they approved it, however, if we were trying to sell the property. We can't unless we fix the septic, or we have to have a cash buyer who's willing to, you know, so it gets complicated of, if Dad lived there forever, they never would be an issue, but if he rented it out. And we found out about, like, I understand, there are septics all around town that are not legal, I don't go looking for work, I can't lie, you know, this is volunteer, but there is, you know, when it's brought to my attention, I have to, that's why I said, I don't mean to be a jerk, but I have to follow through. And I don't want to be, but I have to do my job. And so that's.
Well, you're the liaison for the state and theory,
Yeah.
so if you don't act on it, then the state will act on it.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Hi, I'm Betsy. I have a couple questions. Is the septic system functioning? That it was working fine, or has it malfunctioned?
As far,
There is no septic system,
It's never.
there's no water, there's no nothing.
It never failed, my father was the caretaker for this piece of property before I owned it. And, there was always, indoor, facility. And, when my son Randy was living up there, we put a plastic septic tank in. And removed a old metal one. And it's never failed.
What year was that?
That was about 2004, 5.
So you're telling me there's water currently up there?
Oh, yeah, there's running water there.
Flush a septic,
Huh?
to flush a toilet with no heat.
You have to pump the water. You have to pump the water to have a running water, because it's not a gravity feed, but there's 2 wells on that property. And, both of them have running water. But the one at the camp that you're talking about has running water into the basement, which you've got to pump upstairs.
And there's no heat, so there's no way there's water coming up.
What's that?
There's no heat in the building to be able to have water coming up to pump a toilet, to flush a toilet.
There
Is
is heating in that
in
building.
a makeshift
There is
room,
heating that.
in one little
Where
room that
do
he's
you
living
think-
in.
Where do you think this person that's living there is living with no heat?
Not in the whole house, but it's, that's it. So what's the plan?
Okay,
What is the
let's-
plan? then?
Betsy had multiple questions. Would you like to go with questions?
Can I offer one more thing?
Sure.
As a former health officer, and Jody, you and I have talked about this a little bit, but in the regs for the rental code is regarding sewage, okay? It has to be in working order and not failed. So in other words, the household wastewater pipes are functioning correctly and the leach field is functioning. So unless you've got toilets you can't flush and you can see septic coming out of the ground someplace, it isn't considered a failed system. And this is because it was grandfathered in. You could do the plastic, whatever you did for a tank, you could do that before 2007.
So the recommendation,
wanted to
so
share.
Randy, do you have your letter?
Yeah.
And what's your, let's see what your plan is, so.
What my letter does is it ensures you that I won't have anybody in there within 2 weeks.
So it looks like the plan is that the property owner, Randy, is going to try to get the tenant out. One thing that we do know is tenants is a process, and that I will help Randy with that process, because it can get messy if the tenant doesn't want to go. So legally, the tenant can squat there and it can get messy, but I know how to handle that. I did it on Gilly, so I have no problem helping Randy with that. The next question that I'm having, I want to bring to you guys, is that if he does not, I would have to do a health order on the property, and I need or Betsy can totally weigh in. I talk to Betsy often, but if I want your weight on it, what do you think my plan should be? Should I just wait the 2 weeks and go from there? But do I call another meeting to ask your permission to do a health order? Do I just make the plan now? If 2 weeks the tenant's not out, then I will proceed with the health order. The health order, Randy, is on the property. It's not about you. It is on the property. It means that a health order, it notifies the state, it notifies the town. There's a health order, meaning that no one should live there. We can't help that somebody is living there, but if it'll be public record that unless this sewage is fixed or whatever I find in the report, it could be the flooring. I'm telling you, I can't make it up, because some things Betsy knows, I will find a railing, anything. It means that I will do that report I sent you, but it does mean that you cannot rent that property until those things are fixed, until I come in or any other health officer that works for Tunbridge approves it. So it will limit your property. And if you are found to rent it without doing that checklist, you could get fined. But I know you would work with us about that. So if you guys are fine with that plan, we'll meet meeting, yeah.
In 2 weeks.
Okay, and I will, if Kevin is not out by then we will make a plan, of how to legally evict him. I can help him try to find a place. I did try to find him other resources prior, with his mom, and he wasn't open to that with me. I did try that, not even knowing about the situation, because I didn't even know where he was living, but prior to this, I did try to help this tenant with other family members. I tried to help them in the past, and he wasn't open to talking to me, but maybe if you talk to him and let him know that I can try to find him a place.
I thought you had, when I talked to your son back in July, the first week in July, he told me he was only staying there very briefly because he had an apartment or a housing he was getting. So it must be that fell through. That's
Well,
why he stayed all summer.
I don't exactly know what his, situation was. I mean, I've never, he doesn't rent this place off of me.
So is he?
But I know that he needed a place to stay.
He's squatting then at this point?
Well, he's not exactly squatting because I know he's there and I'm not, and I haven't pushed him to get out, except I did the other day telling him we had to get out. But he's, you know, he did have my permission to go there and stay.
So the informational part of this whole deal is for me to understand that if the owner wants to live in this property, this, as long as the septic is not failing,
You can.
they can live there.
Yeah.
You cannot, however, rent it or lease it or allow anyone to squat there without a state approved septic system.
Exactly, the expect, like, for example, Mariah knew, lead paint.
Oh, the building is.
Yeah, you can have lead paint, whatever, you can live in whatever squalor you want to live in, and I can't enforce that, but if you start to rent that property, that's when I can enforce it, but you can have lead paint, so that was. A lot of people are like, there's lead paint all around town, and I'm like, well, I can't
And
enforce
rent,
it.
rent doesn't necessarily constitute
Money, no, it constitutes you letting another person live there
Yes.
other than your immediate, like your son could, his son could live there. Actually, because, you know, like that, immediate family, they get tricky, they don't, maybe a stepchild that would get more like a tenant, but like immediate children. The state doesn't, like, that gets sticky, right, because a lot, like, for example, a lot of kids. They, in the will, they get that property anyway, so it gets sticky, but when it comes to like, even great grandchildren, it starts to get more tenant wise. So grandchildren, tenant, but children directly, a lot of these properties, especially in Vermont, these properties are going to be theirs anyway, and so they kind of grandfather clauses them in, they can live there with, as long as it's not failing, but if it's prior to 2007. But, and it's hard to, and it gets tricky too with the state, and like, I know they're not getting back to me as they're dealing with, they pushed off a lot of stuff during COVID. So now they're trying to, so when you bring something new to them, they're being a pain, in the- I have to be like aggressive, and that's why I called again, and just to find out the rules, I'm not trying to just, you know. When it's brought to my attention, we have to follow the rules.
So what is, I'm confused about it, 2 weeks, what does that mean?
He has 2 weeks to get out,
Okay.
because usually in the state of Vermont, they usually give about 14 days.
I don't think he would not listen to you. Would he?
What?
I don't think that's not an issue, is it?
No,
Yeah, I didn't think so.
So, and I know that prior to this summer, just this person in general, his mom, I found his mom somewhere to go that he wasn't able to go with her. Like, I think that was the kind of, she's a elderly woman, I was able to find her a safe place to go, so he wasn't able to go with her, so that might have been his plan change, is because he couldn't go with her, unfortunately. But it's easier to find care for an elderly woman than it is for, you know.
I think it's important for us to air it out, nothing against this person, this individual, okay? This is just clarifying what is legal in the state of Vermont, and this is not being, it's not legal at this point.
Right.
For him to continue to stay there.
Right,
So, you know, I'm not picking on anybody or anything like that, this is just here to find out what are the real laws that are governing this type of a situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so the plan,
their plan. All right,
what's the other part of you?
do you have the contract? Did we get that printed? Okay. The only other page in your packet. When you look at that for me, so town, equipment, so we got donated a bunch of medical equipment from the Sillies. And also, you name it, people have dropped off, so really great stuff. However, me being my, like, you know, my nervous self here, I don't feel comfortable handing out this equipment without some kind of waiver. So this is a waiver that says any equipment that you loan or borrow from us, you're taking this on your own liability. So I wrote this up, Tavian kind of helped me off the clock, because I was working on a different thing with him for, Chelsea is open to getting a town nurse, and so I'm trying to help them set that up. So Tavian kind of helps, just like he did with us, of setting up a legal plan and grant money and all that, of how to write it, a proposal. So Tavian kind of gave me some words to use. I wrote up this. I'd like you guys to look it over and see if we can,
use this for our town library of medical equipment. It's just stating that the town of Tunbridge is providing this equipment, it's donations to us. And then I would write what the equipment is, then we would say, you. Hey, what is that mean? Acceptance of it, you are confirming that this is a donated item and that you are superseding any other agreement or any other liability waiver, release of liability, or full knowledge and appreciation that the dangers that you inherit to use the loaned equipment, and it like pretty much just waives us from getting sued.
Right.
So I really feel that I was really.
Yeah.
I was very anxious about, I know it's just, so I've given out a knee scooter and a walker so far, and I didn't have them sign it. I do know who the person is. She goes to the church here. I don't foresee her, but I made her shake my hand in front of Bonnie. She's not gonna sue us until we get this approved. So I'm like, Bonnie, are you witnessing this? She said she's not gonna sue us. So I had a witness. I don't feel comfortable giving out medical equipment without.
This day and age,
Unfortunately, I wish I could say I know all of our people in Tunbridge, but I don't. And sometimes like this knee scooter was actually for the patient's daughter. So like, I'm like, okay, well, the daughter needs to sign this, and because this equipment, like some of it's missing things, or some people just, bring it, it's been sitting in their garage, and like, I don't know if the screws are like, and I'm not a maintenance person, I don't. So that's what I tell them. I say, like, this equipment is great and this is a great resource, but please, please, please check it, have your doctor look at it.
Or it could be misused too.
Yeah, exactly, or misuse and they fall, or whatever. I'm not here, some of them, we leave it here, Mariah and Bonnie give it to the person and then sign their name. So like, I just wanna have from now on some waivers here, some waivers with me. And right now, the only way for them to get equipment is either through Mariah or Bonnie or me. So that's how I wanna keep it.
Yes.
I don't want just anybody handing out random equipment. And I also, the equipment has to come through me. I look at it the best I can, but I'm not an equipment guru. And like, also the other thing is we had tons of Depends donated, brand new, and the package never opened, but like, God forbid, they're, get a rack from it or something. I just don't want this town sued. So if we can vote on that, please, so I can get that going.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept, the Tunbridge town equipment donation / loan equipment waiver and agreement use for on the now equipment.
We second that. All right, all in favor, say aye.
And Tavian thinks that we,
Unanimous.
he thinks that, this should save us from anything, I think, and also he made me put on here that miscellaneous, it's broad and inclusive and applicable to all state law permits, so like, this should protect us from everything. Hopefully, you never know, but
Did you talk to the Upper Valley Nursing Project about this?
I did, so they're mixed. So they felt that they didn't feel like they need it for a lot of those, so Norwich has one, Canaan has one, and one of them is just a, they didn't feel they needed it. I'm an anxious nurse, and so a lot of these nurses, I'm the youngest nurse actually in the whole program. So most of the nurses are in their 60s, retired, and they're new to this kind of age, and yes, so they're gonna use my template and they may actually start using it, but anyway, I'm kind of plowing my own road here, but I've seen some bad things happen, and I just think that we need to protect ourselves, because I mean, I do have liability insurance, but not much, so. Other thing I wanna talk about, so it's been going well. I think the biggest thing is we had a charting system that was donated by the community nursing, and it has been not working for me. So I've been doing a lot of hand notes, and I met with Kristen last month, and she was able to get it downloaded on the computer that I don't need internet for, but it's not uploading. So my charting is not accurate, so they've been doing that, reports where they pull how many patients I've been seeing, how much percentage, resource, like that little percentage that we're gonna show at, I'm gonna use it at town meeting, it's not been accurate. So what we may have to do is you guys may have to request a re-reports or something she was calling it. She has to hear from you guys that you want it. I told them that we would probably want it re-pulled because it hasn't been accurate at all. Because the thing, like, I saw one patient in the last 3 months and it's not doing it. So, because it's not uploading, and if it doesn't upload, it doesn't send it to their system, it's all automatic, so they pull reports of how many patients, and if it's not on the database, they can't pull, so she said that.
Is it in there now?
It's not, so
Okay.
you're gonna have to request it closer too, because we're backdated now, and I gotta enter.
Just let me know when it is and then I'll send it.
Okay,
Is there a way to input it at some point and catch us up?
well, that's the problem, is it's hard, it's really hard to go back in time, especially months in time to put things in. So I have my paper documents, so what she said we could do is just, she's willing to come volunteer some time and go through all my notes and we could make a handwritten thing. Or, like she said, that what we can do is she wants me to just try, and it just may not be accurate dates. And necessarily where I'm charting, it's not really important of the dates, it's more like, because nobody's gonna read these records, it's more for if another nurse took on this job, she could look in and see what was going on with the client, is really what it was for. And,
I think,
Yes.
I don't wanna interrupt you, but I think that my part of the meeting here is over.
yes, it is, right.
And so I'm gonna make sure that he's out and that, you know, this thing is not another issue. Okay,
Are you gonna leave?
I'm gonna leave.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Jody, for all your work you've done. I know it's a lot.
I think too.
And I didn't realize it's a volunteer position.
It is, so I think that was also one of the other things Betsy and I have talked about in the past, and one of it is that someday, I know not anytime soon, I would like to make the health officer, especially septic issues.
Yeah.
Because septic seems to be the most complicated, I'm getting faster, can't lie, I'm starting to get to know the law, I'm getting a little faster, but when it comes to, they're all individually different. They're like some sort of conversation, because Betsy was able to, and I don't know if she's still on or not, but Betsy was able to use it as a tax write-off, because she doesn't have little ones, I can't, like. It's actually better to just do a standard deduction for me than it is, so I can't use all of this for write-off, like gas time and all the energy
Expenses, yeah.
expenses I can't use. So like she would use ink and paper and all that, and I can't, like, it's not worth it for me, I would need significant so that was one of the things I do wanna talk about at some point, is that a health officer, maybe included in my nursing role, I don't know, I do a lot of nursing for it, I can't lie, like, now
You
if I.
should get a stipend or something.
But, what I've been using the $200 or whatever, the stipend is, we used it for things, we used it for the things I actually did, printing. I think I used it up pretty much for my Gilly report, I think is really what I used the stipend on, so, and some years, I can't lie, it's just a couple dog bites, it's not bad, it's just when there's a septic issue or like 509, Route 110, that was ridiculous. I spent like a lot of hours on that property, just getting the tenants out and getting them places to live, and then, you know, all the reports I did, and then the fire safety came in, and then someone else bought it, and then I had to go through that all over again with them, so definitely think that in the future, health officers should.
Does the state recognize something in the league as far
Every
as?
state is different, so some towns in the state are different, so some towns pay it hourly. Some towns do it per case, so like, let's say it's a septic, you get $100 for every septic case. Some towns are, you're just part of the, like, there are already people working for the town, which I do now, so maybe it's the nursing pay, I don't know, or, but then we'd really have to, because it takes out of my hour, I only have 8 hours a week for nursing, so it's like, a limit fee, so like, I spend, you know, this week it would have been just all on health officer stuff, if it really, or not this week, but the last 2 weeks. So I don't wanna that is tricky for me, because then I'm gonna take more time away from my nursing job if I make this a part of it. I would think it needs to be separate budget. But it's up to you guys, it's really, every town is different of what their needs are. I think a lot of our needs are separate. The trash stuff that I did, like making people clean up their trash, and
Tenant stuff.
tenant stuff, yeah, renter stuff is really. And they have debated on making it not on the town, actually making the state, making a position for the state, they have talked about it at our last meeting. Of taking the renter part out of the town health officer job, because it is a lot, but they haven't. That was pre-COVID, and I haven't heard anything since, so there used to be that.
Maybe you could research other towns, and if all of these towns around us are experiencing the same type of thing here and there. And see if they, you know, if they change their
Yeah, so South Royalton's paid, I know that, but they quit, so a lot of health officers don't stick around, they do it for a couple months and they're gone because it's too much, so. They,
How many hours do you get
for this project or for in general?
in a year, because that would give us some idea.
I guess it depends on the year, last year, it was Gilly, so, or wait, was last year Gilly or the year before? I can't remember, but the year of Gilly, I was like, it was like 40 hours of just Gilly, like just that section, and then, you know, probably like 50 hours that whole year, probably, for when it was Gilly, but this year until now, it hasn't been that, like, yeah, 1,009, yeah, that was like maybe 15 hours, that wasn't, you know, consecutive, like, it was like a few hours there, here and there, but, I don't know, maybe an average of 20 to 40 hours a year, maybe,
That would help.
yeah, I don't, it's so, and then like I have these dog bites, they only take me like an hour, dog bites don't take me, unless they have rabies, which knock on wood, that has never happened. It's usually the standard that, what are you talking about? You don't know it.
The health officer constable too.
Yeah.
Fill multiple positions.
Yeah.
And they could use that stipend.
Yeah. Just think of the money.
So, yeah, so like the dog bite incident up on, the male lady got bit on, the Tunbridge part of, what was that, Guinea?
Yeah.
Guinea, the Tunbridge part of Guinea, the male lady got bit recently, so I had to deal with that, and it got nasty because she got an infection from the bite, and so I helped her out, and I felt really bad, and gave her a recommendation, but technically, you know, the health officer doesn't usually help with that kind of thing. It was just because I'm a nurse and I felt bad, but, you know, but that case was a little bit bigger too, so I guess it just depends, but then also there's cases in town, like for example, that pig.
Yeah.
They should have technically called me, that was a health risk, but the state was trying to like hide it, and so I made a complaint at the last meeting about it, and they agreed it was wrong of them not to notify me of the whatever diseased pig that was running around,
Right.
a hog,
So the 2 weeks
2 weeks.
is when? Starting-
What's today?
Starts today. the
Starts
28th.
today?
Starts today, they
Okay.
just approved me, so, and he just
I
signed this.
don't think it's gonna be an issue, I just think he hasn't been asked to leave before, so.
It is the 28th today, and so 2 weeks from today
Would
would
be
be
December 12th.
December 12th.
And when's our meeting?
Probably December 12th. Yeah.
And so if he does not get out, like, then we help the property owner with the legal.
I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I just don't think he's been asked, that's all.
Well, thank you all.
You're welcome. Thank you.
See you later.
So yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, I just want to talk about the statement of that at some point. I don't have the capacity right now to bring up a budget, but that's just my, and then with the nursing. I am bringing to Chelsea, so I'm going to Chelsea. I was supposed to go last week, but they had the shooting, and so that was more important to deal with. They're upping their police patrol and things. So I bowed out of the meeting because I knew that it wasn't a good time, but what is her name? Linda Cuban is like, she wants me to be the Valley's nurse. She was like all about it. I've gotten probably in this year, 'cause we're celebrating our 1 year, guys. I've gotten about 13 to 15 people just from Chelsea, that I've had to turn away. And that's just them being blunt. There's so many that like Gifford will call and say, hey, are you covering Chelsea yet? Like, they don't give me specifics, but they say, and I'm like, no, not yet. Oh, darn, okay. So I'm gonna bring that to them. I know they have to go through the same process you guys did, but hopeful that they'll hire me, and one of my big things is that I can just hit the ground running. I have a computer, the only thing they have to do is add a tab on my computer to say Chelsea, and I can hit the ground running for that, and that I can quit my other job. This is what's hard, is that I feel like I can't give the town as much as I would like to, and be, like, for example, we've been doing senior newsletters. And that's been the last 2 months. Judy Tucker's been giving them out at the senior dinner, and then she just gave one out for the Thanksgiving boxes, and I've gotten grand
You
reviews.
have a copy of that one?
Yeah,
I have them.
you have them,
Yeah,
yes.
I'll email them to you.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So, we did UTI education for elderly, and at this point, it's mostly focused on the elderly, but, we did, what did we do for December, or November? Immunizations. We did who, like, you know,
Yeah.
where to get it, and there is, I did 11 Thanksgiving dinners set up, so, lonely seniors got dinners on Thursday through the law students, so I set it up through the law, so we had great reviews on that, I had them calling me this week saying that it went really well, they delivered turkey dinners right to their door. I've set people up with, fuel assistance, so I've gotten 3 clients for fuel assistance. I have got a ramp, completely all set up, so that literally stops First Branch from having to go get her. So that is great. She left a great review with Mariah about that. We have helped get people home from the hospital. We've helped people with medical equipment. The church volunteered their time and helped me organize it, so it's all organized and nicely presented over in the community building in South Tunbridge. So it's all ready for me, so I can just grab and go, everything's, we have, oh my gosh, what have we done this year? We've done a lot this year. We've done the parade. I got a banner, a vinyl banner. I tried to find a spot at the fair and I didn't have time because I was so busy that nobody found an official place for it, so can we let mom tell? Yeah. And so next year I would like that implemented, though. I want to talk to the fair board and say, can I have an official spot this year? Because it wasn't hung on the barn by our oxen, and people actually saw it. They came up and was like, hey, there's a town nurse in Tunbridge. But and then we did trick or trunk in South Royals, and I got a couple people. I would love to get pamphlets made of what I do, not just the website, because there's not a lot of elderly, or there's some not tech savvy. And so, but that costs money, and unless Mariah wants to fold it and do all that, and we're fine with that too, but that would, I'm looking
You'd be glad.
for a budget for that, so that,
Well, you're digitizing.
I can definitely make them and print them.
Yeah.
100%.
so I would like that, and business cards, I would like, right now Becky was nice enough to tidy them, but they're kind of like ghetto.
I'll make some of those, sure.
Like official,
Sure.
they're yellow paper and it just says Jody, and it has my number, so it kind of looks like I'm asking them out, it just says my name and my number.
Like a dump it.
Yeah,
Business card.
and
Give me info for the pamphlets. I'm not
yes,
sure.
I got a $5,000 grant that, can't be used for my staff, so that was one thing that's hard, it cannot be used for my wages. So that's one of the things, so we've been using it for mileage, that's something we didn't take into consideration when starting this, and it-
Reversible.
yes, and, reimbursables, and so we're gonna meet with Mary Ann and, you are crazy tonight, we're gonna meet with Mary Ann and, Becky when she gets back about that, we're gonna have a big meeting because I have money, but I haven't spent yet, but, they really want to reimburse me for my phone usage, because I've just been using my phone and I haven't got reimbursed at all. And then I got a $500 grant, to use it to get me education. So I want to use it to get, certified as a case manager. Just because that will help run me, and I'm gonna use it to get certified to be a CPR instructor. The only thing, so that I can do CPR, for the town. But my big thing, and that I don't know if we can do it or not, is I do wanna talk about budget, and that's why I want Chelsea involved, because if they're willing to jump on this year, that's what will change. So if Chelsea's willing to take on 15 hours, you guys are willing to do your 15 hours, there you go, I'm only looking for 30 hours a week, because I got kiddos and that's all I want, that's my full-time to me, 30 hours is good. I can quit my other job and I can be a full-time community nurse where I can do community events, and that's my goal. Community events, CPR training.
Stratford's getting it.
Stratford's getting a town nurse, I met her, they did offer the position to me and I did decline. Stratford's nurse is nice, she does work full-time at Dartmouth, so, and she has different goals for Stratford than I do, so, we're working together, but, they have a lot different goals for Stratford than Tunbridge, so they want more, health goals, they want kind of like sharing initiatives, healthy clinics, they think like that, which I think Tunbridge will get there. But I think me hitting the streets and going to see people and doing the, water stuff and getting people, like, I don't know if you, the feedback you've gotten on the water treatment, but getting the donations and doing all that, I've gotten great, I think that I handled it well, and I think that if we didn't have a town nurse, it would have been a hot mess, because nobody would have known where to get water, nobody would have even known about their water, people would have gotten sick, and knock on wood, only one person got sick, so I think, and then, we've had some feedback that I was too toxic because I moved the Grange there to here, town hall instead of the Grange, and the Grange came back positive. And I wanted them to treat the water before giving it out to vulnerable elderly, so sorry that I was, but I think it went well, the 90% of people were fine with it, it was just some people, because they wanted it at the Grange. But we've been getting good feedback,
You connected with Martin, because they brought you up in Denver in general.
Yeah.
At the meeting there the other day.
So they have not reached out to me. Gifford has reached out to me and they're willing to donate their funds. So if I'm willing to work with Chelsea and Tunbridge together, Gifford can then make me, like, so you know how they give first grant money to do the water checks? They have 10 to $20,000 that they could give me or the town nurse, but I have to hold both towns. Is the only stipulation is that it has to be different. It can't just be one town. It would have to be Chelsea, Tunbridge, or Bethel. It'd have to be multiple Gifford before Gifford could chime in. And I have to work with Chelsea Health Center more, and which you do. Tunbridge, I mean, the only big problem now is I'm talking. I know it's past your bedtime. I know. Is Dr. Barber is retiring, and we're having a lot of upset people, and so one of the things that I would like to do in the December newsletter is bring forth, that I'm gonna say it straight out, she's retiring, if you need help finding a new position, I am, friends with, Judy Tucker and Judy Libby, and a lot of people that are on the Gifford board who are hiring this new doctor, so they're gonna keep me right in the loop of who they plan on hiring. So I was gonna put that right out there and say, hey, talk to me and I can help you, if I feel like this new doctor's gonna be good. The only thing that I ran into is I have, one client who doesn't want my services anymore, however, the family does. So that's been a challenge to me, I've never dealt with that before. The patient doesn't, but the patient also has dementia. So it's been a challenge, but he's or she is still legally responsible for themselves. They can make that decision. And so the family was having a really hard time with that. And so that's why I talked about, should I have a contract that they sign? And so, you know, that explains that to the family, and all the nurses said no, that, you know, we don't need a contract or whatever, but that was something that I brought up. Does the town have a contract for me? So that, you know, I could still help this family with, because a lot of it's dynamics, right? Referrals and things like that. They're doing this for their parent, you know, financial assistance, whatever, and because they don't live in Tunbridge, I can't help them, and so it's challenging. So the actual patient that it overall helps, I don't know, and so that's where it got sticky, and so the nurses said, honestly, if it's, you know, he does have dementia, but he still, so they have to go through the legal process. So like, it's just new things I'm dealing with, and right now, I'm not taking on any new clients right this second. I have 13 steady clients right now. Some of them are, you know, spouses, but I still, it doesn't matter if we live in the same house or not, I'm finding like this, each care is so different. And so that's my biggest stress right now, is 8 hours is not enough for me, and so people are getting upset with me because they give me a referral and I can't, I have to turn it away unless it's dire, like they're just getting out of the hospital and they're gonna fall. I am triaging them and I'm picking them, but for example, a client who they're kind of worried about, they're lonely, maybe you could just say hi. I haven't been able to take on clients like that right this second, unless I either get more time or we get more Penny Russell, because Penny's been a godsend of, she goes out and helps clean their house and does those things, and she gives me feedback of how they're doing. And I haven't been able to find that yet, so that's the only way, and she gets paid privately, so that it all works out, right? We don't have to pay them, she's still checking in on the client, but it's hard because to do my rounds and to do the newsletters and to and to donate, you know,
You would like to do 15 hours.
I would, that would be ideal.
You'll let us know if you want to sign on, or if
Yeah.
there's anything we can do to convince Chelsea.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I know the select board is torn right now. They've shut down the select board because they had such crazy things and they're not having open meetings. Like they've been, like not open, but like they haven't been open to new objectives. Like they're just very strict on their schedule and they want to get things done. And so they told me to come to the meeting last week and come in as during the public comment part in the beginning. And then once they saw me there and what I wanted to talk about, it's very weird. The administrator's kind of new, so I don't think we have it in with the select board, like knows them as well. So I think what's happening is, like, if I had said that to Mariah would just be like, hey, the town nurse wants to come in. And she would tell him, I think that she doesn't talk to them, so I think once Kelly, like, I know a lot of the select board members, when they see me, they're like, oh, you're here, yes, and they'll, I think, so I'm hoping that's what them. And I'll see, and then I do know that, you know, it's a possibility that someone could come in and get the job over me, but one of my things is I'm gonna come in with is that, you know, if you work with me, we, you know, we can hit the ground running, we have all these resources that we already like too. She doesn't have to apply, like, we're gonna be competing for the same grant, so it's gonna be, like, I told Stratford that, I said, no problem, I'm just saying that, like, you know, I'm not interested, but at the same time, we are gonna be not competitors when it comes to working together as community. Just when it comes to grant money, there's only a small pool, so it gets challenging, and that's what we're bringing to why I want John, me and Kristen from Thing to go to the state level and say, we need help, like, we feel that a nurse, every town should have a town nurse. And
Sure.
we should all work together to make that happen, or combine towns, much like Chelsea and Tunbridge. I feel like South Royalton offered me to come to the select board meeting. They wanna hear what I have to say, they think that South Royalton needs one, they want me to make a budget, and I'm hesitant. I don't feel that that's not what I wanna do. I wanna do Chelsea and Tunbridge, that's why I turned down Stratford, this is my goal, because we already work together on so many things, and the resources are we're Orange County, we're the same. When I go to South Royalton, it's Windsor County, and it's way bigger, and they are not 15 hours a week, they are probably a full-time nurse in general, and that means I'd have to give up Tunbridge, and I don't want to, so have not yet, they may go around me and get a nurse going, but they're kind of waiting, like, they literally, the select board's wife keeps seeing me at Arby's and keeps asking me, when are you bringing the budget to South Royalton? I'm like, I'm not, yeah. Waiting on Chelsea, so just whoever you know on the select board in Chelsea, please, 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 have my back so that, cause I'm like,
That's been led to this wellness grant from Gifford.
yeah, I mean,
For us.
Gifford is.
And Chelsea.
And then I just feel like it'll just open doors for me, because right now I have to I feel like we can make the health officer role, into one, like, I really do, like, it's nursing, like,
Is there any way you could use part of the 5,000 grant for your health officer stuff?
No.
That's too bad.
that's
Yeah.
too bad, no, I already talked about that, I'm the only nurse that's silly enough to stay as the health officer in the thing. There's no other, nurses have done it, they think that it's great for nurses, but a lot of them bow out because there's no reward, not saying but there's no payment, so like, they're doing a lot of, they're pretty much like, she's like, you're doing your job, you're just not getting paid for it, and I'm like, yeah, exactly what it is, so they agree that, either I give it up, which I think I'm good at it and I like it, and I get a lot of referrals out of it, like, I've had multiple clients, they've discharged now, but that's how I kind of started it, is that I find a person who needs to get evicted, I help them find, it gives just a good taste in their mouth for Tunbridge, a lot of health officers don't do that, they don't care where you go, they don't care to find you a new place, they just,
Just
I mean,
budgeting.
yeah, and so I just feel like we can do this, we can make it, I just don't know exactly how it'll look. I know that Betsy said that her idea was what the case was, that's how much it costs, or hourly rate, I don't know, but,
Well, you know what? We're talking budgeting next.
perfect, incorporate that,
There we go.
thank you guys.
Thank you. Keep his head warm.
Yeah, you can quiet now, right?
For that, a second, now that you're leaving.
Yeah, say bye-bye.
Have a good little card snooze. Stay asleep when you get home. For your mom.
Even the TV. Yeah, right.
Budget?
Budget.
I'm tired.
Why? Well, fella.
Here's the new minute.
That was actually. Mama's mini was very accurate. So, as far as budgeting goes, should we go through this then and next
Is this-
meeting go,
Is this,
get Becky here maybe?
is
and go
this
through it?
Becky's
Right.
job? Okay,
I mean, I don't know, but it's got.
this is Becky's.
I think
Becky.
so, yeah, yeah.
I think that's what she did.
I went through the colored sheets that she gave us and just circled a few things and pointed a few things and.
I found out Rodney's long.
Probably.
Please.
I'm only here for a couple slices of cheese and then I'm
Faulty.
hitting the Dutton trail. Back to Tunbridge, back to my house.
Special
Oh, Larry?
Canadian saltines here. so
Rock, dignity.
they might be failed. From Canada.
Well,
Canadian salty.
In Florida.
Yeah.
they look slightly different.
They're pale.
There. I'll put it there.
Can I agree to you what I heard back from BLCT regarding alcohol? This is what that said,
For towns,
for towns.
policy ordinance.
Well, they said any outside groups or organizations should provide the town with certificates of insurance naming the town as an additional insured if they're using the recreation field on a regular basis. There should also be an agreement in place with these groups outlining the terms and conditions for the use of the rec field. Of course, this won't work for individuals that get together for unplanned impromptu activities on the field. As for alcohol use, the town would have to be proven negligent if a liability was filed that involved alcohol. However, to reduce your risk for liability, we would recommend that the town consider implementing a policy for the use of alcohol on public property.
But the rec committee is part of the town, so it's
Right. And they don't have independent liability insurance.
right.
But they do have the signage up around the field and stuff.
So what happens if you have a sign up saying no alcohol, and then somebody's drinking?
I think you could be held liable because you said don't do it and they did it anyways.
But isn't there some?
It's not.
Yeah, he's not.
You just made it,
Are you applying for the town nurse position? It's already taken.
you know,
No, I'll do that on Saturday.
good enough. He said
It's
it's.
giving us Little League too.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Crocker pen. Big feet. What are we talking about? But it's.
But the-
Cheese and crackers?
He's actually pretty good something there.
Did you hear Rodney's story?
I'm going home and make.
You want to know Rodney's story?
I'll give you the
Person?
card notes.
Yeah.
Okay, oh yeah. Did you eat your turkey?
Different one, we already had one, so
Oh, I don't-
next weekend.
That's right, there you go.
I'm really love this turkey.
You ate early?
They're expensive turkeys.
Yeah, they were.
Jen Watt is not a lot cheaper.
Well, they were like 20 cents a pound, but you had to buy, that was only
Right.
for one turkey and you had to buy
It went up.
like $25 worth of other things to get the 20 cents a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause I was like, oh, okay, I'll get these ones, 20 cents a pound, like, perfect. Nope, it was $350 for some turkey.
How big a turkey were they?
But the smallest ones I can find, like 20 pounds.
Yep.
They're pretty good.
You can.
So your culvert company, if my information is correct. Said they were charging you 31,000 something to install it,
Yep. Okay, didn't know that. I thought it was fine.
but no, that's what you told me. So. No,
Whistleblowing.
well, just so you know, and you guys can do what you want with it, but. That,
You showed this to Rodney too?
I haven't, yeah, because I just came through town a while ago, saw you guys here, so went home to look this down. This is the hours I feel that they worked when they got here, 2.5 days late.
Huh?
So I kept, that's keeping track of that time, and I was being nice on what they took for lunch breaks.
So it's 160 hours anyway.
Well, minus 15 for lunch breaks.
Oh, okay.
But the salesman said they were gonna credit us 1,200 for the work we did at assembly.
1,200?
Yeah. So that's written there.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel we did in those days, 76 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Before they arrived or,
well, when they arrived, we packed up our stuff and let them take over.
but how many hours had you done until they arrived?
I'd say with all 6 of us, it was 76 hours. So we worked for $15.78 an hour.
For their $1,200, they're gonna get.
Yeah, and then the remainder of the 31,000 something is that, if they work 145 hours, they're getting $207.
Nice.
Something.
That's
Yeah.
what it-
So-
that's what-
Looking for
But you
help.
continue to work on the thing
Right.
after they arrive, like
Right.
bending them. for them.
Right, then bending the parts was, I figured, another 8 hours worth of time. But I talked to the salesman, he acted like, I don't know, I didn't get anywhere with him, but it seems like it's not quite right. in
I'll
my
lay down the
opinion.
law.
How much of this have you paid?
How much have we paid? I'm not sure, we just got the bill for contact today, so none.
But it does seem like, it felt like we did almost half of the work when we shouldn't have,
Right.
just to speed along, and then,
And they wanna do half the work for $30,000?
well, that's what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
Granted, Contact is probably
On the
not
other,
paying that sub crew that whole 31, I mean, they probably itemized it,
Yeah,
with a cushion, but even still,
yeah,
100.
on the other hand, if you were in Kentucky and you didn't give a shit when it was done, you guys wouldn't have done anything.
Right.
Well, we were just trying to hook it along.
Right, and the owner of the installation company was fine with what, he said, oh, go ahead and do whatever you want, and then we'll just credit back, but I was like, 1,200 of credit for 6 guys of. 76 hours, I feel,
Be generous.
it's not making us feel very good that we were only worth 15 and some change.
well, you're probably really worth 30 anyway.
Oh, yeah, I mean, a labor rate of, a general laborer, a company would be billing them out.
Yeah.
50,
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
but you personally, a worker would be getting,
yeah,
would be okay.
right, and then correcting the bent problem, they were ready to leave, is, oh, we're gonna have to get new pieces from Kentucky.
Yeah,
But, oh, no, we'll figure out a way to correct this.
Right.
Brought the shop press up there and did it.
Yeah.
Which, it'd be more, you guys wanna hassle the salesman,
right,
I mean, I feel like that's pretty accurate information when,
Mhm.
and the guys that were from the screw were nothing special.
Right.
It's pretty sad.
well, it's good information to know.
So, running things. But I would just kind of pay them what we think's fair, see what they do.
Well, it seems like, they're
Well,
itemized
that's-
as 31,000 and some change. And they-
What'd We'll just subtract, we'll just divide the assembly costs in half and pay them 15,000,
I
whatever.
mean, that's for you guys.
That's what you would do, isn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, like, this is what,
Yeah.
here's what actually happened, here's what.
Maybe that Contact gives that subcontracted company, culvert this size is 6 days worth of.
Right.
They were 5 days of. The 5th day was only a couple
Yeah,
hours,
the
but
workers
with
were awful too.
the guy that was the foreman. Wasn't leading the guys that had no experience, and a couple mornings they were
Right,
hung over and.
Yeah, but they won't be well.
Kind of, but
And some kid, I said, working with sneakers and.
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
It was up there.
it just seemed like it was odd,
yeah,
Oh, you didn't even include in the 76 hours for the correcting either.
No, that was just,
84.
Yeah,
well, it depends on what labor rate we wanna charge. They're saying we're only worth 15.
Yeah.
But they're got,
I can't believe you said, we'll credit you 1,200. We'll credit you a free turkey.
yeah.
the pat on the back.
It's a-
just so that's what I feel is,
I guess-
so an estimation of the time that was spent.
I'm glad you kept track of it.
In the sense of. Never on time, well,
10,000 for those
first day they
ones.
got into town late, so they didn't show up until it was 10:30, then the next day we had that first snowstorm.
I bet them guys that get. They probably got $15 an hour.
But they are,
Where were they staying at, like,
somewhere in the river.
some hotel? Or whatever?
Yeah, one morning. One of the other workers drove and. The foreman probably was not feeling well. They forgot to get off of 91, so they ended up down near Heartland before they realized they were going the wrong way. We would have been a little earlier, he said.
Professional.
We missed the interchange.
Keep them on road.
His job to pay attention.
Yeah, they're good enough, you would think.
So what do you want me to do? If we worked, they
You want
work,
Rodney. Want Rodney's friends, maybe.
Just seems like there should be a little bit of a little more wiggle room that.
Yeah,
I'll do this, 145.
You have their bill too.
I do, plus 76, plus 8, so 229 total hours for everybody. Then we'll see what the hourly rate would be, yeah. No, I lost it.
I guess you have the final bill, you'll be able to tell you what they charged you for it.
Oh, is it?
Obviously paid a down payment in the beginning.
Yeah, what did we pay?
I don't remember.
40,000.
30, I want to say like 30 maybe, yeah. Not very much.
I don't know.
So in theory, if you're doing 31,333 divided by hours, everybody worked, us included, comes to $136 an hour. So it's minus, or then charge, 76 minus 136, that's 10,000. So the 1,200.
But you could put Rodney's hours in that too. Have you got them?
That's,
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's for our cruise hours,
Oh,
if we
Okay,
equally pay everybody.
right, I mean, I wrote it like, I just on the other side, I
Yeah.
guess where. I've listed,
Matt's like a witness too, so.
You know,
salesman.
you know, that
wants to
was
go back
my
to that,
3
you
guys.
this is fair, we-
like, my 3,
We don't
and the
wanna
3
hear
wrote through that
Yeah.
day,
Yeah,
that was minus one of somebody.
Well, I think that's that 10,000 figures would be better,
Yeah, that,
better than
you know,
12.
those guys, they probably are charging hotel stays and travels
Yeah.
in their fees, but, and more than likely contact probably isn't paying. I think they were called platinum pipe services, they weren't getting paid that full 31,000 something,
Right.
but it was probably a buffer or a cushion.
Yeah.
Or whatever they associate their fees with.
you know, I guess you might as well go home.
I thought of it anyway.
That's got an important description.
Yeah, thanks.
And that arrived a few days ago, got it, and I saw you had it. Went on. Got it.
Whipped it out.
Thank you.
All right.
We hear you're doing a radiator job for the town.
Yeah.
Old
I broke it.
Thomas lies in the chaise lounge, gives you tips.
That'll save a tow bill and a shop bill.
That's true.
So,
$1,000.
And they charge at that shop, whenever you use a different wrench or screw or something, or.
Plus, it's 2 weeks out.
Yeah, they charge for all that stuff.
You could be the in-house mechanic if you want.
On call,
Thomas will be back next.
yeah. Full time.
It'd be good to get it going again. And David Ray says,
David Ray says, take the hood off. But Rodney said they already have a plan, so.
part of the plan.
The radiator might just slip up out of all the
Well,
other
it's not-
intercoolers and stuff, hopefully.
I was talking to David today, and he said he changed radiator and it's. On his log truck.
Are you okay if I stop?
Yeah.
There's no reason on
Yeah,
it.
just
I make a motion, we-
He said, stop, come out and put the back end with bit. But
You second the motion?
so
Yeah.
if he ever did it again, he'd take the hood right off, but Rodney said you guys are gonna flop it right over